Speaker of the House John Boehner surprised many on Friday by announcing his resignation from Congress effective at the end of October. Boehner said he wanted to avoid a protracted battle for leadership, and his resignation seemingly opens the possibility for a more conservative speaker. Patty, this was the big news on Friday morning. Nationally, we even switched around our own script because of it. When you heard about it, what did you think?
Well, when I talked about the power of religion and the power of the Pope, wow, look at this. So yesterday, Boehner has said that was his lifetime goal was to have the Pope speak before Congress. So here, this might not have been his Pope of choice, but here's the Pope. He's speaking there. He had a private audience with the Speaker. They talked beforehand. The Pope asked the Speaker to pray for him. Then he does. You know, he has this speech. He's weeping in Congress, very emotional. The next morning, he decides he's going to resign. He's going to leave. He gives the reason. So either he saw the light when the Pope was there, or he realized he did not have a prayer of ever getting the Republicans to agree on anything, and he just decided it was time to go. I mean, extraordinary move. Will the Republicans now use this opportunity to come up with someone who will be more obstinate, less able to bring people together? It kind of looks like that. Paul Ryan wants no part of it. Kevin McCarthy's kind of the lead right now out of California. So this was an amazing move following less than 24 hours after the Pope was at Congress for Boehner to say goodbye after 25 years.
Craig, politically, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of conversation about now where does House leadership go, but seemingly it has to go more conservative. It's that you already saw more conservative senators like Ted Cruz, other conservative members of Congress cheering this situation. If it does get more conservative, what does that bode for Republicans generally for 2016?
I think the Republican base is really disappointed in Boehner and McConnell. Gave them both majorities. They've done nothing to really stop Barack Obama. So they will look for somebody who can get that job done better. I think it's a shame that here Congress loses its highest-ranking person of color, the lone member of the Congressional Orange Caucus. And I'm not going to cry over it. Yeah, you can laugh. Thanks, Pam. Don't. You know, he cries enough for me. And yesterday, when he kept crying and he had a handkerchief to dry his eyes, but then he'd blow his nose into his handkerchief, that's not good judgment. I think you need two different handkerchiefs. And for a variety of reasons, this guy is ready to have his time over in Congress. He likes to golf. He likes to drink. He'll be fine in retirement.
Penn, if you're part of
Don't
the House...
ask me about two handkerchiefs.
I'm not going to ask you about two handkerchiefs, no problem, I promise. If you're part of the House Democratic leadership, right now in the minority, do you look at this as a positive situation for the 2016 election or challenging?
I think in that context, you're doing cartwheels, but you stop after the third one because you say, oh my God. Now, where's the voice of reason on the other side of the aisle with which we can try to have any hope of brokering any agreements or any compromise? I understand, you know, Boehner deciding that as a matter of personal conviction, he's decided he wants to go into another direction with his life. I wish he would have finished out this term because it almost looks like he's running away from his final fight, and I'd like to see him show some leadership. When you look at what's happening with Republicans in Congress, and then look at the presidential election and how that is shaping up on the Republican side of the aisle, one person's opinion, the lunatics are now running the asylum. I think you've got members in Congress who are looking at their potential nominee thinking, oh my goodness, is this really what we may end up with as our nominee for our party? And then you've got this contingent within the Republican Party in Congress that doesn't want to agree on anything just out of principle and out of spite of trying to disagree with the president who's on his way out the door. So doing what's best for the country is not even a consideration at this point. They're just looking to see how can we embarrass President Obama or just be obstinate and mad because we're not president. And at the rate they're going, someone from their party is not going to be president, and they may lose their majority in Congress if they keep this up. And I think Boehner was probably their last best hope of bringing reason to the situation. With his departure, I think it's going to descend into more of a mess than it is now.
Natasha, Penn's right, and the mess only gets bigger with a conservative voice leading the House Republicans into more fighting and maybe a shutdown of government or anything else. Do you think at some point somebody, whether it's from the Senate or at least from the presidential camp that Penn talked about, will want to step in and urge some sort of compromise so at least something's happening before the 2016 election?
Well, I'd love for that to happen. I'm just not sure what would actually make it happen. It's been necessary for a long time. You know, here we are, it's fall, the leaves are changing, the nights are getting cooler, and it's time to start talking about a shutdown again. You know, so if it wasn't going to happen before, I mean, yes, it should happen now. I'm just not sure that anyone's going to get to that compromise point. Especially we're spending a ridiculous amount of times looking over the idea of defunding Planned Parenthood, which provides very necessary medical needs to women across this country, and they're not providing a solution of how they would fill or supplement or make those services still available. It's focusing on these one sort of hot topic issues instead of looking at the bigger picture for Americans. So yeah, we need compromise. I'm just not sure anyone's able to do it. Maybe we should just lock them in the room over the weekend and say no Twitter, no Facebook, no Instagram, no Fox News, no New York Times, no interviews. Just do some work.
I'd love to see that happen, but I think that's not very likely.